His counsel was like something out of a Star Wars movie.
Welcome to Soul Guide with Vondie Lozano, a show about past lives, life between lives, and this life.
Hey everybody, it's Vondie, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. We have a really special story. His name is not actually Steve, but that's the name we're going to use today to identify him. Let me move a little closer so you can see me and I can see you better. And sometimes the very advanced souls, or even the souls, are just a little modest. And so he was happy to share his story, but he wanted to remain anonymous. But I want to say thank you, Steve, in quotes, for letting us share your story today. So before we start, what I loved and was most interesting about his sessions was that his counsel, I said, was something like out of a Star Wars movie. I meant that scene where they go into the bar and it's like the Wookiees and everybody else. And so that's what it reminded me of. So afterwards I said, too bad you can't draw it for me. So he actually drew it as well as a drawing of his spirit guide. So we'll be talking about both of those in just a minute, but I'd like to go ahead and show you a little bit of what we'll be talking about. So if we can play the videos now.
She has a robe with a hood. She seems very old, very kind.
Great. And now we're going to show the second video of the council.
There's different beings.
Okay. Tell me about the different beings you see.
I see long face. I see an insect looking.
Okay. An insect? Like a person-sized insect?
Yes. She's wearing gold. She's got jewelry. She looks like a praying mantis face.
Wonderful.
And then there's another one. He's more green and he's wearing purple and he's.
Is he also insect?
No, he's another being.
What kind of being?
They're not from Earth.
Yeah. And is he presenting energy, or what does his green purple self resemble? A human person, or?
He has a human body, but he's got wings.
Okay. So he's clearly a traveler soul. Wonderful. So the green and purple, the gold insect. Who else do you have on your council?
They're robed monks.
Monks, like Catholic monks?
Mm.
Like in robes, monks?
Yes.
Okay. How many monks?
Looks like a group of 3 or 4.
Okay. And who else is on your council?
I just get light.
Light? One of them is just a light being?
There's 2 light beings.
Okay.
They're like pillars of light.
A pillar light?
They're like pillars of light. 2 pillars of light.
And is that all of the beings, or there's more?
I think there's one more.
What does the final one look like?
He's hard to make out. He's like a ball of... He's hard to describe. He's like a light ball made of, well, it's light, it's energy,
All right. And I know he sounds very quiet. It's just because when you're in these sessions, you're under very, very deeply. It's not sleepy, but just very, very relaxed. So that's why his voice is a little soft and there's long pauses because he's reporting back to me what he's seeing. This is where it's different from a medium or a psychic, where I'm telling you what I'm seeing. You're seeing the movie and then you're trying to put these incredible things into words for me. And so we can have it for the recording. So I wrote some notes because this is my first time doing this without the person actually here. And I didn't want you to miss anything. And he may chime in, Steve may chime in if he's able to. So it started with the first past life session, and his name was Zeidel. He was 27 in Arizona. The year was 1604. It was clearly what we would now consider Native American. Deerskin pants, headband. He even had some sort of braided cloth and spears. He liked to hunt and play drums. He had a family. They lived in a cave. They ate rabbit. It was a really beautiful life, a safe childhood, a lovely family. And then we ask, to get through the story, to understand the story, tell me a significant moment in the life. And then he was running. Everyone scattered. There was a conflict between different tribes, the other tribes that were in the area. And then afterwards, I said, "Where's your family? Is everyone okay?" And he said, "Everything is burned. There's no other people. I see no one." And he was alone. So it was very, very sad. And then later in the life, we moved to an important moment, a turning point, and he was painting on the wall of the cave as a record of the past that he and his family had been there. And he said the turning point was accepting that everyone is gone. And so he was going to move. And I said, "Where are you moving?" And he said, "To the sunset, to where the sun sets." So somewhere out west, I'm guessing California. And at the end of that life, first of all, I said, "Did you ever encounter any other people even in the new place?" And he said, no people, only memories. So just a completely isolated life. And asking him to reflect on that life, he said, "Value people. People are what's most important." He said there were many beauties, but many tragedies. And he died at 65, outside, sitting by the fire, just him, cold, alone, tired. And he said he just went to sleep. So it was very sad and lonely. And we crossed over, and that's where he met his guide. You saw the video of her at the beginning. And we asked, "Why are you shown this life?" And they said, "Because in this life, Steve is scared to love, and it's good to love and to trust and be open and have love." So there's a message even from the first one, which is sort of the precursor to the Life Between Lives session. But even in and of itself, it has messages or inspiration for you. So in the next life, these were two pretty rugged lives. Like I said, the more advanced souls do choose the harder lives. He entered as a child at 7. And again, he was, it was the year 42, and we learned it was 1942. He was in Colorado at first in a classroom, then later playing marbles and games with his friends. His father was at war, so that would be World War II. And he had a family, brothers, sisters. He was a high school basketball athlete. He did well. I asked if his dad came back from the war, and he said no. And then the most important person he was with in that life was his girlfriend. And he was telling her that he had to leave because everyone was enlisting. And by now, he's a little bit older, and he's 27, going into basic training in Louisiana, and the year would be 1962. So he was riding in a helicopter in Vietnam. He said he and his basic training friends stuck together. That's how they survived. Camaraderie, teamwork. He said by looking out for each other, staying strong, and remembering home was how they made it through. And then the last day, an important moment, obviously, the very last day, he's running, being chased by the enemy, trying to get to base, almost there. And then he said they had to I picture turn around, but they were almost to base. And yeah, I see people chiming in. Wow, I know, it was pretty intense. And he said, we have to hold the hill. So I think he would have made it to base, but then they had to hold the hill. They had to protect the base and like turn around and, stand guard. Because up till then, he said, if we make it to base, we'll be okay. And I said, why will you be okay? He said, because there's support there, more people. And so he said, there's too many, we're overrun. And I just asked him what happens. And he said, what happens to everyone? He was shot. And so reflecting on that life, I asked how he felt, and he felt cheated, because he died so young. And he realized that family is the most important thing. And then afterwards, we asked, is there anything you want to do? Or I think I said, what's happening? And he said, I'm sticking around to watch my friends die. So all his friends died too. So this was a sad one. It was very, very heartbreaking, very heartbreaking. And so he did cross over after he finished with that. Oh, and he did go home to say goodbye to his parents because, again, you have the opportunity to offer comfort or say goodbye to someone that you want to, if you need to, before you're ready to pass over. And he did reach out to his family. But then he went to straight into his soul group. So that's always a sign of an advanced soul. We ask, do you see one large globe of light or several small lights? And the more advanced souls, they don't need the orientation. They don't need the guide to sort of welcome them home and tell you what's going on. They just go straight into an activity, usually their soul group. So he went to a place that he said home, a bunch of people. We learned his soul name is Gabriel and his color is green. So the very light colors are the less advanced. And again, it's no judgment. It's not a hierarchy. It's just sort of where they are in terms of their work and advancement as a soul. So younger souls are often lighter. He was green. As you get to dark blue and purple, those are the most advanced, but green is definitely more on the advanced side. And he said he was home. And he just was sending me a message this morning because I said, was there swing dancing? Because I had written that down in my notes, swing and dancing. And someone wrote, I'm feeling so many emotions listening to this. I know. It's powerful stuff. And so he said there was music, but not like a melody like we would think of. It was more like vibration. And music and song is one of the main ways we communicate. We don't use words really. In fact, the soul names are usually very hard to decipher because we don't use words and letters like we think of. In fact, I've heard people say it's a different alphabet. So it's a different, it's a different experience of words and communication. It's usually telepathically, but there is a lot of music and song. And so he said his soul group was about love and happiness. They were proud of him for making it through. But when he arrived, he said there was hundreds, and he was like up on a platform looking below. He was refreshing my memory this morning. He sent me a message, and he said there was like swaying and swinging and music. And I picture like a big party, a welcome home party. But it was very, he said it was more like vibration than any sort of melody. So they were proud of him. And then his council. And there were various members from that life and this life in his soul group. And we explored some of those. But the part that I mostly asked him if I could share was about his council. So you saw the picture. He said, he called her the praying mantis lady. But at first he said it's like an insect, like a human-sized insect. If you saw Molly's episode a couple of weeks ago, we said it was a reptile. And the picture we showed was of like a little gecko, but it was really more of like a standing up prehistoric giant type reptile. And I've seen those in other people's councils. So I knew when he said an insect, I knew he meant like a human-sized insect. So she was kind and gentle, happy, proud, rooting for him. And then GPA was my initials to try to fit it on the slide for the green purple alien. She was like the soft mom, and the green purple alien was more like the stern father. So she was trying to tell the green purple alien to kind of lighten up and not be so hard on him. But she was sort of the gentle, soothing, nurturing presence. And the green purple alien that you saw, he was a little stern. He kept saying, discipline, 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 to focus on the mental, not the physical. And we were kind of trying to figure out what he meant by that. But I asked Steve, do you know what he means? Is he talking about this life or Steve's life? And he said, or excuse me, this life or the last life as Dennis. And he said he felt like it was more focusing on this life. And then the monks kind of chimed in. They were in the background, the three monks. And they said he needs to focus on deep peace and love to help integrate the body and spirit. I think it's called Qigong, and then breathing, meditation, moving energy. So those are the ways to focus on the mental or spiritual rather than the physical. And then there were the two light pillars. I don't know if you saw those in the background, but these two kind of strong light pillars that were there as guardians or protectors. And like I said, this was incredible. And the one that was the hardest to describe and the most interesting was the orange ball of light. It was a radiant, and this is when I said, I wish you could draw this. And so he drew it for me. Radiant energy. And it said that Steve has the same properties as the orange ball of light. So the orange ball of light had this radiant energy and it was communicating. It was funny because he would say, he's not saying anything. I could say, that's okay. What is he communicating? Because they often communicate without saying anything. You just have a sense or you just know. And he said, it's communicating this radiant energy and that he has the same properties as that orange ball of light energy. And again, more and more, especially as we encounter the advanced souls, we realize that everything is one and them on the other side. And we asked, what was his life purpose? And they said to spread love and light and compassion and stand up for the weak. And I asked, how can Steve do this? And they said, oh, I think this is Steve chiming in. Let me check in just a minute. But they said, I said, how can Steve do this? And they said, he's already doing this, standing up for the weak. So Steve is very creative. Or maybe it's somebody else saying orange. Steve is very creative. I don't know if that's Steve or if somebody else, but yes, very, very creative. And they encouraged him, speaking of creativity, to reach more people with his music and his art. And he actually sent me a song. And I wish there was a way I could have incorporated that today. But this inspired him to write more music. And then this was a really interesting point in the session. Sometimes they'll give us a little information about the future. He asked them, how hard was this life going to get? The Steve life, the current life. And he said, everyone bowed their heads, which I said, what does that mean? And he said, it means that it's going to get hard. And so the praying mantis lady showered him with golden light to sustain him for the journey. So it's amazing to me how when you listen to the little parts, it doesn't seem like they're related. But then when you focus on the whole story, as I'm preparing for the episode, the first life he was alone and he learned that people were the most important. And the second life, he died in Vietnam, and same thing, family and friends were the most important. And in this life, we didn't hear so much other than focus on, the mental rather than the physical. We didn't hear so much about his development. And this is where the souls get more advanced. It's more about how he could bless other people with his music, with his art, with standing up for the weak. So it was a really, really beautiful session. So I just want to look over and see if there's anything else that anybody wants to share. I see, wow, beautiful. And I don't know if Steve made it in. He was going to try and join us, but I know he wanted to keep his anonymity, so he might not have been able to find a way to do that. So I want to check and see if there's any questions. I do see that we have people watching. Thank you for your comments. Yeah, just beautiful, powerful. And like I said, the council was like something out of a Star Wars movie. Yes, very beautiful. Thank you, Leah. So let me look up at my notes and see if there's anything else I wanted to make sure and mention. Let's see. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for watching. She's just thanking us for the session. And thank you, Steve, for letting us share your beautiful session. And if you'd like to watch other episodes, they're on our Facebook page, in our Facebook group. But probably the easiest place, if you just sort of want to watch them in order, is our YouTube channel. And so we posted that for you in the comments as well. So I think that we will be wrapping up for today. Next week, because we've been getting so many traveler intergalactic souls, that's what we're going to focus on next week. Oh, somebody says, I just waved at you for real. Okay, great. I'll have to find that. And I'm just looking through the comments again. Thank you again. Yeah, it was a really beautiful, powerful session. And again, the more advanced souls choose the harder lives. And I've had other people where they've had dreams or a sense that they're in a past life and sometimes more recent life in Vietnam. And he had a sense, I think he had had dreams about it. And so sometimes during the session, you go there and you get to find out more than you get to experience in little snippets in your dreams. So it's pretty powerful. Thank you for sharing with us. Yeah, thank you for being with us. High Vibin 888. Thank you for being with us. So next week, traveler souls and intergalactic beings. Like I said, they've just been showing up. So I'm just sharing the message that Spirit is sending to me. And I think it's because I think so many advanced souls are showing up is because they want you to get those messages. And so I'm just realizing my banner isn't up, but that's okay. It should say Vondie Soul Guide. I'm not quite sure why it's missing, but that's all right. So I think that's it. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for being with us. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow. And join us next week for another episode of Soul Guide.